I was born a very old farm in Packwari, New Jersey. And since I had no friends or children, it was so isolated, I began to make pictures of my friends, maybe stick figures, but they were very real to me. And that's how I began with the figurative kind of work, you know. And years later, when I had been to the Wyckoff show a couple of times and got paintings in that, I went to New York in the outdoor show. That's where I met Sterling. He came along, he said, "Oh," he said, "it looks like Shawnee." And I said, "Well, that is a painting of Shawnee." So then he introduced himself. And from then on, we were friends, you know. I must have been about 11 or 12 at the time. Well, I knew who he was because he had purchased flowers from my mother. She had beautiful gardens. So I heard about him quite a bit. And she was highly critical. She didn't like the way he painted flowers. Was he didn't use the colors that she saw. Well, artists could visit him quite a lot, you know, they had the freedom of going in. And I was amazed in the kitchen, especially he had all kinds of little crafty things, little things that children play with, and shelves that gave me the idea to do the same thing myself, to use them in paintings later on. And it was very interesting. He was on the floor usually, painting something on the floor. So I realized you just didn't have to work at an easel at all. You could, any way that it felt good. His wife was always there to help things going along a little bit. She was a very good attendant for him. Yeah, didn't visit too often. A lot of people, a lot of the local artists would go to him as to get a feeling that he liked their work, because it was positive, and they needed him to do that. I didn't really. I had to do my own thing, and I knew that I couldn't do the kinds of things that he did. I didn't want to particularly, but many people were striving to do modern art, more or less abstract expressionist. And he just did his thing in his own way. He said, "You do what you feel you have to do," and that's what I did. So I rarely went to him to get advice or anything. You need an understanding that people are interested in what you're doing, and they see it as work. They may not like it particularly, but they do realize that it's something that's important for you. It's very important to have people like your work. You're going into your own soul in a way, and you're going into your inner self. And it's very important that people realize that. They may not like it particularly, but they realize that, yeah, this is something you have to do. It's part of you. It's something you have to express. And that's the only way I could put it. You have to stick with your path. Even if it's rough, you have to stay there. And you sacrifice a lot of human experiences by doing that. And I think most artists do that unconsciously. They do it without really putting it into words or into real thoughts. But I think sacrifice is the main thing, really. You have to decide where you want to go and stay with that. Very difficult at times. But I think most artists do it. If they really are concentrated in their work and really involved in their work, I think they all do that. And that's what painting should do to people. They see a painting, it has to get to them. And if you have that happen in just one painting in one show, it's great. It was very important for Sterling to be here in this community at the time that he was. And he certainly helped people appreciate all kinds of art, not just one. And that's very important, to get people to look and look and look. That's a very vital service that he gave to the community, I think. I used to enjoy the outdoor shows in Strasbourg. It was Sterling and a few other people, and they'd carry on, so they'd make jokes about things. There was one man, they always played jokes at him. He was a painter. And I remember they got a lot of cleaning materials and brushes, and they paraded up the street and deposited all of them in front of him. It was hysterically funny, where they could look at things and laugh, you know. Sometimes you have to get away from the seriousness and look at yourself and everything else and laugh about it. And that was a very funny incident, I remember. You look at the art and it hits you somehow. That's the important thing. It's very hard to develop different ways of insight into one's own psyche and heart. It's very hard to do that, and very painful at times. Yeah. Many times you do paintings that I think are symbolical of what you're feeling within. It doesn't come out that way. It's a beautiful landscape, but it can mean a whole lot of other things too. And you've gotten it there on the canvas, hopefully. Kids do it, very easily. And they lose that as they mature and grow up and have all kinds of experiences. It's very hard to maintain that fresh look at life and reaction to life that kids have. And that's what a lot of people lose as they get mature, which is too bad. I just quoted to this other friend of mine about a book called Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Beautiful book. Yeah. And he described the struggle of the artist or the individual. It doesn't have to be an artist. Any human being who's become aware of the world around them and himself. And it was a beautiful book about that. Fantastic. I loved the title because it expressed it beautifully too. Yeah.